Hello world, hello world. My name is Jamal,
I'm Saba.
and we are Flip-NFTs. And so today's conversation is going to be a bit of a twofold. On one end, a bit of a recap of how we experience or how I experienced ETH Denver, and also learning a bit about how Saba disconnected for the weekend.
I know we had very opposite experiences. I was thinking that.
I mean, I think,
It's cool.
yeah, I think the throughput there, like the underlying theme is, I talked a lot about and trying to understand, like within a DAO structure, as an example, how can we incentivize people to disconnect from their devices, right? And so the one thing I learned was how we could actually do it to a degree, not fully fleshed out solution, but you can essentially use a ZK rollup
I have
for
no idea what that is. That it's like
so it's
fruit roll up and Ziploc at the same time.
boom, all that. But it's zero knowledge proof. So zero
Oh
knowledge.
right, I do know what that is, but I had no idea there was an acronym for it. That's crazy.
No worries, no worries. So zero
Okay.
knowledge definitely is, this is invented by the founder of
But don't they use zero
algorithm.
knowledge to like figure out age and stuff or like data that's not available? How is that applicable to offline?
Well, it's less about just being offline, but it's just more about being able to share information without someone knowing, like the
What
ultimate.
you're up to?
Yeah, exactly. So like
Okay.
like IP addresses through like SSL certificates. There's definitely ways that you can figure it out. But there's also ways to beat the system, right? So if
But if
someone
I'm trying
really
to be offline, I don't want people to know anything.
correct, that's why it's zero knowledge, right?
Okay.
So we know, but we don't know. So as an example, you
So
always
you know I exist, you just don't know what I'm up to.
correct.
Okay.
So as an example, you could use the analogy or the example around if you and I both went trick or treating and
Mm.
you have X amount of candy bars in your bag, I have X amount of candy bars in my bag. How do you tell me how many candy bars that are in your bag without telling me?
I feel
So,
like I'm in grade 5 math all over again.
so I mean, I always tell people, explain to me like I'm a 5-year-old anyway. So this is that to a degree, but you still want to have some privacy, which it provides, but still being able to know the truth. And so I think some of the things that are going to come out of zero knowledge, and really less about zero knowledge, but just about this whole space, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be wild.
You know
But
what's funny about this all is that I wasn't technically offline because I referred to offline as like work offline, but I was still like on socials,
okay,
so I
how
was still
how was
connected.
how was social? Did you see all the ETH Denver tweets?
No, I was more caught up with my own stuff, but like I was still on a mountain, like connected to the ETH situation. So I'm like, it's so interesting how I referred to it as offline, but it wasn't really offline.
You should check all the ETH Denver crazy madness that happened. It's like
The all I saw was the one girl who said some guy was mansplaining what ETH was to her at ETH Denver. It's like, all right, let me just log off.
man.
But that's what the algorithm is feeding me. That was my experience of it. Talk about your experience of it.
Well, I first want to talk about this mansplaining word. That's so interesting. I remember when I first heard it, I had to go like look it up, like what is this? And I was like, okay, this really a thing?
You
I'm
had
like,
to vet whether you do it or not.
well, yeah, you want to be self aware in all
Yeah.
in all parts of your waking life, right? So maybe we can do some like mansplaining type words, mix it with some crypto words, and put it on some clothing. I think that'd be fire.
No.
No,
No.
that'd be fire. That'd be fire.
All
That'd be so
right.
fire. 'Cause I was listening to one of the panelists, and she was like, "Man, you guys are okay." She was like, "We like y'all." She was like, "We the shit," and I was like, "Talk that talk. I like it. I like it. We need more, regardless of inclusion. We need more
Yeah.
like confident components in every part of the inclusion, I guess, circle essentially." So women, African American men, Latino, like everything. And one thing I did see that was pretty dope. So I went to this DAO pitch with Metapod. Shout out to them. And so there was a woman who had her sister is autistic,
Mhm.
and she's an autistic artist. And so she created an NFT marketplace for artistic artists and like
That's
NFT collections
beautiful.
for it. And it's super beautiful. And it's called like something XV, and XV stands for 15 because 15% of the world they have some type of like
Yeah.
autistic or mental disability. And she wanted to
Neurodivergent.
neurodivergent.
Neurodiversity.
I think that's actually what it's called, to be
Mhm.
honest. And she had all these great art pieces. There was one of her artists on the platform. I think she said this guy hasn't spoken in like the last 15 years, but he just
Oh,
makes all this kind of crazy art. And it was like the art was like mind blowing. A part of her beginning of her presentation, she showed how like Leonardo da Vinci, like Mozart, and like some of the other like great minds of the world were deemed to be neurodivergent as well.
she
And
got to pitch. That's
huh?
beautiful. She got to pitch.
Yeah, she won.
Wow.
She
Wow,
won.
good for her.
I know, I know, I know. Which
Send
is
me send me a message of her thing.
okay if I can find it. I'll look for it.
We're really bad at we're really bad at names on our little show. We need like a little list of all the names that we shout out.
This can't be correct. I just got a note on my phone. You know how Apple sends you like the COVID warnings if you're by someone.
Yeah.
It says you may have had a brief exposure to COVID. You may have been near someone who recently tested positive for COVID-19.
Maybe Apple just knows that you were mingling and socializing at ETH Denver and it's on
But
to you.
but the thing is, at the event, which was I thought was kind of cool, is that you had to get the rapid test like immediately, and
Every
so
day?
no, just
No.
just day one. But after once you get it, once you pass like you can go inside without any mask on, and mingle freely. So I feel great,
That's
but
good.
but you know,
I'm glad you had a good experience. That's an
uh,
incredible thing on their end.
this was, and I said this offline, but this was definitely Twitter and Discord in real life. Like it was all of that, and I think
IRL.
yeah, and I think they're doing a really good job. I think they've done that's the understatement. They did a phenomenal job. Um, and it was a gamble to a degree, you know, like because at one point I was like, man, I'm not even gonna go to that. Like, I'm gonna stay home and focus on this other stuff, which is all essentially Web3 related.
Yeah.
um, but at the same time, like just going to meet everyone and see what everyone's working on and get validated for what we're already establishing. Like, you know, I think we were at a point where we
That's
had,
cool. Getting your messages was nice. It
oh
was
my,
like good news every day.
oh my goodness. But like the fact that we were already building and doing and creating, and we were kind of like this no man's land of like, well, do we go left? Do we go right? In terms of like a DAO structure, the most important thing one of them was that like if there's two DAOs with the same problem, we're gonna have two different solutions. And
Hmm.
like the solutions will always be derived by the people within the DAO, like the core contributors. So like what makes the most sense to us is how it's going to work. You know, us kind of like trying to look for other DAOs to say, well, what are they doing? What are they doing? That shit is all dependent upon those people.
Yeah.
So if we make our own, which is what we already done with our DAO canvas, like no one can really take away from it, and it will have that ecology structure to where it's organically growing based around the people and then you tokenize that. You tokenize the values that we want to create and establish for the long haul. But then you do it across multiple DAOs. So there was a guy, he was talking about
The
DAO
did you ask them about the micro macros?
micro macros. What do you mean?
Our little nodes.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's all doable. It's
That's
all
sick.
doable. It's all possible.
That means I don't have to really change my diagram.
No, but we want to do it. We want to do that. like you have that picture of those like orbs.
Yeah.
Now I got to make
Yeah.
something like that. That'll
Yeah.
just like that'll be the summation of it all. That'd be crazy. Um, I met lawyers. Um, I met the guy from Charge Particle. Shout out to him.
What
I,
was the one moment that you were like mind blown throughout your entire experience?
the one moment, the one moment I can't. I guess that's
You gotta pick one.
the main takeaway that you can't if you are really out. And when I mean really out, like you're really networking, you're really talking to people, you're really sharing. You'll be a liar that said there was one moment. Um, for me, again, I think the one thing that above all, meeting investors, um, anything was that what we're doing was beyond validated. Like from all of our projects, every time I mentioned fly to earn, people said, "What?" Like, oh my gosh, like that's gonna be crazy. Like, how can I get involved? Where can I see it? Like, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh shit, Rachel, we got to really like push this forward because we were already we were so far ahead of the curve, um, with all of our ideas and
That's it.
concepts,
Yeah.
and us having a primary driver for impact being our primary focus. Is that now that's going to be trendy, and that's something we've been thinking about for months, right?
Because everyone needs to make their projects meaningful now.
I mean, everyone doesn't, but that was just what, again, our DAO, our structure prioritized. So that's what rose to the crop for us. And so we didn't do that with the intent of saying, oh, we want to do this to raise money. Like, if anything, it's more or less like this is kind of taboo. Most people weren't going to
Yeah.
look at this and say, oh, this is the coolest thing out because it's not centered around making money. It's centered around practicing empathy.
That's why we were trying to go so hard on the experience.
Right. So
Yeah.
so now to seeing it all kind of be validated, um, I think it's beyond go time.
It's
Um,
exciting.
I'm
I
super
feel like
super.
I'm at a good place with like the direction for practice empathy too. It's very clear now. I feel like before it was a little overwhelming because there were so many different ways to go about it, and now it's like very very clear how it's going to happen.
I love it. I love it. I
Yeah.
think I was just looking at our viewership. We still got 0 views on the live stream, and like our goal has to be to get like one. We need
Let
just
me retweet this.
like
Okay, let's
like
see.
one
Not
person.
that people care. Let's
Somebody's got to watch this once, live as we blow this thing up. We just got to do some right marketing, but I think it'll happen. It'll work. But
What's our account? Boom.
so anywho, if I'm doing a quick recap, um, shout out to. Let me give a quick shout out list. Really shout out to everybody I met. Let me, because I don't want to miss anyone in particular. But shout out to everyone I met, and everyone who enjoyed and has an impact mission and a human element to their projects. I met some people who, definitely made me think differently about my approach. I
That's
met,
cool.
yeah, and to be honest, it kind of feels crazy that it's over.
Oh, you missed your ETH Denver friends. I knew you were going to switch up on us.
Well, no, it's not the fact that I miss my Denver friends. I miss the environment.
Oh,
Like
that's nice.
like
Yeah.
I've never been in anything like that before. So if you think about it, what it did was it took the most cutting edge technology, right? And then it broke it all down. So now you can
Mhm.
go into different spaces and like this, they had this one venue called the Castle, which was more of like the conference style slash. It's 4 different levels. So there on some levels there's booths. On other levels there's artistic, like huge, like different mini small rooms, the things that you can do. They're
Okay.
building NFT microchips. There's open like classroom areas to go do your work. There's
You did like a whole magic school bus trip to NFT land. That sounds crazy.
Web3 land because this is way more than just NFTs.
Okay.
So it was all of this stuff together compiled, and like it felt like undergrad. It felt like, freshman year of college when
You're
you're
like, these are my people.
everyone's like, "Oh, look at all the people! It's so new and it's buzzing, and nothing ever closes. Everything's open all the time." In undergrad, you can go someplace at 11 p.m. and everything is live, right?
Yeah.
And then there's a party you can just hop over and skip to. There's 8 parties a night during this ETH Denver event, but there's also tons of work
That's insane.
to go do your work. And so, again, just having this cutting edge technology, this community, um, like one thing that the founder of ETH Denver talked about was like, and it's funny, he said, we create a vibe. And I kind of chuckled a little bit when he said it because, I think the vibe can definitely be a little bit better. But I don't even know how
But it's
you
their vibe. Maybe they
correct.
enjoy that vibe.
Correct. And then from that perspective, it's a 22 out of 10. Like it's beyond expectation. Like there's nothing bad I can say about it, but I do think from seeing that so expansive now with things like what we're doing, we can drill down and make these mini experiences, curate them with more of our culture, and put those out into the world, and then cookie cutter them around the world. And so I think that's the difference between what we want and what they're doing, and I think being able to align with them is going to be huge, because they're absolutely right. This is about, you have to make this shit cool. Like you have to make it
Yeah.
cool, you have to make it fun, you have to make it accessible, and that's how you really create and build and establish a long-term ecosystem. So shout out to ETH Denver for accepting me. Shout out to Eden for making me one of the blockchain one-on-one mentors to go actually help other people. Um, Shout out to y'all. I love it. I love it. And I can't wait to
Did you
come
do a
back.
hackathon?
I did participate in one project. So the project I participated in was for a DAO. And so this guy, and I didn't pitch, or excuse me, I didn't like come in with any idea. Like I didn't like put any of our ideas as part of the hackathon. So there's a guy I met on Discord. He needed some help with his DAO. He owns like 10,000 acres of hemp, like hemp
Okay.
fields. And so
Yeah.
he needed some help trying to tokenize that. So I helped him a bit with like the smart contract.
That's cool.
He had a fronting person to help do like the front of the website. I helped him with like a 3D asset. And that was pretty much the extent of it. Like we met like twice for like we met once we met twice. We worked on it once. Um, but it was so hard to like be still,
Yeah.
right? It's so hard to be
Imagine
still.
everyone experiencing that right after COVID too. That's crazy.
Right. Everyone couldn't wait to get out. Right. Everyone couldn't wait to get out and like mingle and network. It did snow a bit too much for me, but that didn't stop anyone from moving around and mingling. I did meet someone who said they knew you. That was wild.
Crazy.
That was super wild. Like he pulled up like the phone, and I was like, he's like, is this person? I'm like, well, I don't really know her number by heart.
Yeah.
Like, so I can't confirm or deny if this conversation is the same Sava. I
Was he
did,
cool?
huh?
Was he cool?
Super cool. I got his contact information. Super, super nerdy. So check out how we met. And so shout out to this part, ETH Denver. So a lot of times when African American men are around a lot of non-African American people, when we see each other, we kind of give each other the head nod, like, "What's up?" Like, you in here
You're
too.
here too.
So
Yeah.
I'm outside of this venue, like one of the main venues, and I'm on the sidewalk. It's like bustling people walking by. And so I see one. We say, "What's up?" We stop. We start talking. Then we see two more. They stop and start talking. And we had like 20 brothers just standing in the middle of this walkway, this talking shit, this politicking, talking shit, sharing about what we do, loud, boisterous. And then what naturally happens? Other people want to start walking up to us and start asking us what we about, what we doing, because they think we all together. And so that's how I met this guy Andy. And then, of course, in traditional, let me not say traditional, but in to a degree, sometimes usual fashion, a blunt gets pulled out. And so these guys are just
It's
smoking.
driving me crazy that I can't put a face to this name.
So, then it's just, it was a good time. And then, we're like, oh, there's a Black at ETH Denver uh Telegram. Now, something did happen in the Black at ETH Denver Telegram group that was kind of spicy and it was kind of hilarious to me at the exact same time.
Are you about to expose?
Oh, for sure.
I don't think you should expose. I think you
Why,
should keep it amongst yourselves.
why not? It's amazingly entertaining.
All right, go for it.
And this is just to me more of a funny thing. So I don't even know who the founder of this channel is, right? And so they're like, "Oh, we're gonna have a dinner for everybody in the group, right?" But you had to RSVP. So I'm like, "All right, RSVP." But the RSVP, you got to answer like 4 questions,
Was
like
everyone doing Google Forms on these RSVPs?
no type forms, like a little
Okay,
prettier, whatever.
thank you.
So
Okay.
right. So we me and my boy, we sign it, we fill it out, but I guess you're supposed to have a confirmation to go to the dinner. And so we never got a confirmation.
Mhm.
So, we're like, do you want to go still? Like just, just pull up anyway, right? The LA guy, I mean, we just without an RSVP ticket, we just go knowing we're gonna get in. And so I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't got time for no drama on those stupid ass black people dinner. Like, I'm not with that right now. So one of the guys in the group was like, "Oh, I'm headed there." I said, I asked the group, I'm like, "Yo, what's good? Like, what is it looking like? Should we come? I don't have this. Like, I don't know what to do. I'm not going without any kind of like heads up." So one of the guys, he's like, "Oh, I'm on my way there now. I got a confirmation. Well, I'll let you know." He
Okay.
gets there. He's like, "Yo, I got denied with a confirmation," and I'm like, "What the fuck? What's going on?" So he's like, up. He's like, it's cool. I'm just gonna chill at the bar. If y'all want to come meet me here, I'm like, I don't even know. I don't know Denver like that to just be traveling and Ubering, all around. I'm like, I'm straight. Um, Another guy goes, he gets denied as well, and he's like livid.
What is this for?
Okay, so apparently there's this company, investment company. I won't expose their name. There's not even a
You
web.
could expose their name.
There's not even a website for the fucking investment firm. So I thought this was super interesting. So apparently they were using this 4 question uh type form registration to pick the selected group of black people to come to this event. And I was just like, I'm like, well, what's the criteria? Like, what's the criteria? You want my
Wait, what?
I know, I know, I know. We gotta do better. We gotta do better.
This is such an awkward question for me to ask. Were the people that were vetting black?
That we're vetting?
Yeah. Who's
Who knows?
selecting?
What was that?
Who was selecting?
I don't know. I wanted to know what's the
This is
criteria.
crazy.
So apparently, it's like a black VC firm, right? That's a part of ETH Denver to some capacity, but they don't even have a website. So I went to I looked up the type form, took off the type form of the URL, put in .com, nothing popped up. Googled it, nothing popped up. I'm like,
So maybe it's better that you didn't get caught up in that chaos.
correct. Um,
Yeah.
but still, we made good fun of it in the channel. So it was that was unique. I'm glad I did not go and waste my time. Um, but still, I hope like that channel can still, stay connected, do some things in the future. I wish everyone much success.
That
I think
channel's already a DAO on its own.
correct. I wish everyone much success. I wish everyone, and this whole like we gonna make it type thing. Wag me. Did you know that's a thing?
No. What's
Yeah,
that?
WAGMI. We all gonna make it.
That's cute.
I mean, who was it?
That's cute.
Who was it? Who had the song "We Gonna Make It"? The old rap song.
Oh.
Was that
Oh, my
Jadakiss?
boyfriend's gonna be
Was that the
so
Lock?
annoyed that I don't know this.
Was that the
I don't
Lock?
know this.
Yeah, I think it was like the Lock. So I'm like, This is kind of
Let's
old,
find
guys.
out.
Like this is kind of old. Yeah, I think it's the locks.
Let's find out. Wow, can't I? Jadakiss. Always go with your gut.
Okay, Jadakiss, perfect. He's in the locks. So
But people also, yeah, that makes sense because he is in there.
yeah, I
I
think
got lost in Google for a sec.
we're all, it's funny how that's like a thing where everyone is trying to help everyone be better and learn and grow in the space because it's enough crypto to go around for everybody. Um, so that was dope. That was
You know
cool.
what's kind of cool is that people just pass around decks like it's nobody's business versus like Web2 is like you can't get access to anyone's deck ever.
So that's another thing that this guy John Dulong spoke about in like the hierarchy, like why DAOs need hierarchies, is that you need some type of privacy. He's like, how can you be competitive without it? He's like, I know we're in this hole, we all gonna make it type of phase, but he's like, like you have to have some level of like intentional secrecy, not to be secretive, but because timing with
It's
things.
more like sacred. You can keep things sacred to yourself first before you build it to a place where you want other people to have hands on it or eyes on it.
Well, he's like, well, if you have like this overflow of people in your DAO, and like you want to share everything with everybody, he's like, what if they're a part of a competitive competing DAO? He's like, you got to be able to put it out at the right time. He was like, smart contracts are going to make the world a better place, rightfully so, but you still have to appropriate the way you go about it and not just throw what we've learned from traditional business to the wind and just kind of go in this kumbaya land of
Yeah,
just,
but that's
oh,
not far from where that's not far from like the physical contract versus smart contract
and
or
that's what
like
I
the LLC to DAO situation.
and that's what I showed him. I was like, look, I'm like, I have this literally what you're saying. I have it already. I have physical, and I said it's a hybrid approach. He said exactly, and I was
Mhm.
like, you just validated me. And I was like, I didn't even. I'm like, and then I had to say to myself, I said, look, we gotta really, really, really stop second guessing ourselves. And
No
like,
more imposter syndrome.
what was that?
No more imposter syndrome.
Man, like, stop second because we had. I'm like, we had and have everything that these
Yeah.
people are at the who are at the top of the game are already talking about and saying. So it's like, okay, let's continue to innovate. Um we are, I was telling people like, oh, we've done a NFT project on Solana. I was talking about like the mint work that I did, like the React work that I did. I was talking about the marketplace stuff, and they're like, "Oh, you're ahead of the game." They were like, I'm like, well, I've done like 30 Web 2 projects. I'm like, I've only done like 2 Web 3 projects, like these little shits. And they're like, no, that's a lot. they're like,
Yeah.
they're like, that's a lot. And I was like, really? I was like, oh, I thought I'm a noob. Like I thought, but I'm like, to be honest, I want to
Yeah.
keep this approach because I'll stay a student and I won't ever like think I'm too far ahead because that's when you lose sight and somebody will pass your ass right up. I show people like the Excel sheet that I
There's
showed.
always someone who's thought of the same idea. It's just how they execute it.
Correct, correct. So that Excel sheet that I have with like all the stuff that I showed you,
Hmm.
I was sharing that out. I'm like, go look at it. I did not. Some people like share the business model canvas. I was like, what without my sticky notes on it? I was like, I was
It's
like,
on Figma. Here, let me shout it out.
look, all I was saying is that they can have it, but we want to take our sticky notes off of it.
Yeah, no, they can literally duplicate. We might tweet it out.
Yeah, I'll tweet it out after. But how about we do this?
Aaron Bachel. Oh my God, Aaron, I'm so sorry for
We should just
butchering your last
make
name.
a PDF of it. That'll probably be easiest for most people to use.
Aaron Bachelorder. I'm sorry. I'm butchering a white people last name the way they do it to Persian people, but my bad, Aaron. Go to Figma, go to the
Question.
community section, and just look up the DAO planning canvas.
Boom.
So that I don't, yeah, I'd rather people make their own than come and look at ours.
You got to keep in
Although
mind.
We'll probably make ours public anyways.
You got to keep in mind, most people are not like Figma. Like the way you popping around Figma real quick, they're not doing that.
They should.
They should, but they're not. Let's just be honest with ourselves. All right.
You want to
Let's
know what I
go.
want to talk about?
Yes.
Even though I was offline, I still got caught up in the Kanye shit. But I saw the STEM player news, and have you seen this?
Yeah.
It's pretty. So I've seen so many different takes. I've seen like the Jay-Z Nokia situation. I've seen the Idris stuff. My thing is like, at that point, he could potentially just make them NFTs. He probably is.
But did you see him also tweet out like "fuck NFTs"?
Yeah, but I'm saying like the way that Kanye works, it's always that. And then 5 days later, it's like he spun it on his head and did something 10 times cooler. So I already had my little moment about him saying fuck NFTs. I'm saying now here's another opportunity.
I mean,
Or he just makes the copies and they are what they are and he's happy with that.
I like it. I respect it. I'm not buying a $200 stem player. But you got to keep in mind, I think it's.
But you know what I was thinking? If you were like a Kanye fan,
Mhm.
right? And you were someone who was like, fuck Spotify, fuck these guys. I can't build on my own either. Like, they're not product builders, they're just musicians. You would potentially pitch your music to be on the STEM player. I could see a lot of people pitching themselves to be on it. It's no different than like
But it's
wanting
going to
to
be
be in a sync, but wanting to be on a hard drive or
but it's
hardware.
going to create so much. So let's say every rapper, artist, musician decided to do a stem player. So now, right now, on my one phone, I have a
I don't
playlist.
think everyone's going to want to do it themselves. I'm thinking everyone's going to want to be on his.
I doubt it, but because
Like,
then
imagine if Tidal came out with their own version.
it's going to create the exact same problem that he's trying to get away from, right? Like now, so then he becomes Spotify.
Okay, I hear you. But I still think it's a better option than what it currently is.
Don't I disagree. I think it works for Kanye because he has his own ecosystem. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I have my own. It's like if Apple. I mean, it's crazy that I'm comparing him to Apple, but if
It's
Apple,
crazy because an iPod exists and you're taking it there.
right? So yeah, and that's exactly what it is. So they have all these other things and suite of products and services. He has shoes, he has all these other things. So now it makes sense. And there's always going to be someone who's going to buy that from him, right? So it's like Nipsey Hussle when he did the $100 mixtape,
Yeah,
right?
I guess so.
It was innovative. It was still music that you can still listen on all devices.
Yeah, but if you're an artist that has a label and you have like other artists under you, you could technically have all your artists under there and just
Technically,
have it on that player and just pay them out. You're paying them out anyways off other things and you're taking
but
your cut, so you could just do it on there too.
now what he should have did was accept the crypto. That'd have been fire.
That's what I'm saying.
That'd have been fire.
You
That's
have the hardware and the software to do both.
He does. I mean, he doesn't like a payment page, and then it would have went all through. It would have been super crazy. There was a company, I'm not gonna say their name, that kind of like inspired me a bit, like to kind of push our clothing stuff forward. They had some interesting pieces of clothing there that was like kind of streetwearish. They had a token to it, and I was like, oh, we could do something similar, but our clothes will just be a lot more swaggy. So there's the ideas will run rampant because there's so many things that we could possibly do. But I'm glad to kind of put things in priority and work in a descending list from there, um, and get this shit stood up, built out, funded. This is gonna be. I mean, we're only at the end of the second month of the year, and like I feel like I just left like Christmas. Like that shit was like Christmas. Um, we got everybody. We got everything, every connection, personal connection. we need to build and grow on, and even we don't need it at the same time, but because we already had it. So and I told someone, I'm like, I feel like I told Marvin, I'm like, we went in a complete circle. I was like, we started here with our ideas, kind of went around, and just
Mhm.
wound right back up where we're already at.
Full
The only
circle.
difference is we got more people to kind of help push it. And so I told Marvin, I was like, bro, you need to be on stage.
It's almost like you're building private community, and then it gets exposed to public community.
Correct. And so I'm gonna say this here again on this podcast. No, we have not had Marvin here yet. Maybe have Marvin in the next one.
That
But
would be so fun.
we got to get Marvin and Saba on stage to share their expertise, share their knowledge.
Beautiful.
That's gonna be one of my missions. Get y'all guys on stage so people can understand and get y'all spotlight that y'all deserve, because y'all be on some shit that y'all there, and y'all just need more exposure. And so I think it'll be fun to help promote y'all in that capacity and get y'all the
Yeah, we'll
recognition.
definitely do it at our own too.
Well, yeah, and even outside that, y'all just need the recognition and flowers y'all deserve. And the thing with Marvin was like, well, let's get these products and stuff going so they can kind of speak for us. And so I'm like,
Yeah, that's how I feel too. It's
same.
a lot easier for me to talk to people if I'm like, here's my work, you know what it is, and then we talk. Whereas like having to explain everything that you do is just, it's a different world for me at least.
All right. So you want to play our game?
Let's play it.
All right. All right.
I
So
already got it.
I got mine too.
Ready?
Are we gonna say it or are we gonna show? Because it's hard for me to show.
I can do both.
All right, I'll say mine.
Okay.
All right, so mine is gonna be Balancer DAO.
Balancer DAO.
So it's an actual company called Balancer DAO.
You want to add the DAO in there too? You want to keep it?
Well, both. I'm
It's
just
gonna
saying, like,
have it regardless.
I'm
All
basically
right.
saying like their product. That's what I'm saying. Like their product, Balancer DAO, is like one.
Okay. I'm looking at two words, so now I'm debating which word or do I do both words? All right, mine's school.
School.
Sunday school.
Sunday school. Like church.
Like the brand that has really good edibles, but it's called Sunday school.
Edibles? What kind of edibles?
I don't really know much about them. I got them a little while ago, but
Like
I'm sold on the packaging and it worked. So I was like, all right,
what
sick.
is that? When you say edibles, you mean like infused? Like what milligram?
Good question. It's not on the packaging anymore. I'll tell you in one sec. The beauty of the internet. Lychee Dragon. We got 100 milligrams. What was yours again?
Balancer DAO.
Balancer DAO and Sunday school is what we're working with.
So I'm gonna send this to you now, just so you can take a look at their website.
Can it just be Balancer school? And you just go to Balance?
Okay, so their tagline is automated portfolio manager and trading platform.
Okay, question while we're here. Let's clarify for me for the 500th time and for everyone else. Platform versus protocol.
Okay, so a platform, you can build a platform on top of a protocol.
So wouldn't your platform just be the brand?
So
What's the tech behind a platform?
so let me think of a excuse me, like a Web3 example. So I can build a marketplace. I can build like an open sea marketplace on top of someone else's protocol. So I can build my platform, or like Sound XYZ, right?
Okay.
That can be considered a platform that was built on top of what was the company that I found? Is it what was damn I'm in 2 months we've seen so many platforms, we've gotten old.
It's in the
Um
Slack channel. Don't stress. It's
yeah,
somewhere stored in there.
yeah, they were one of the options that I wanted to use for building out a marketplace. They got Jay-Z invested in them. Uh,
I don't remember.
I forget what they're called, but that's an example. Protocol that you can build on top of the protocol. You build your platform on top of it. But to this example,
So
school,
platforms don't have protocols.
it depends. If they built, I mean, they can, yeah, they can.
They can be built on top of them, but they don't have their own. I'm just confused. It says a DeFi protocol, and then you go on the site and it says that they're a trading platform.
Because one can be both.
Okay.
Well, it's just a layer. So I can make, my protocol and I can build my platform on top of it.
Okay.
Everyone isn't doing both. Some just have a protocol. Some are just a platform and they use someone else's protocol.
Okay.
All right. Though at some point I would love to have both. So automated portfolio manager and trading platform. Put your crypto assets to work and get the best prices for trades. Now, I spoke with a developer here, and he showed me like this cool uh, Safari web browser hack for wallets that was super dope. So shout out to him. I have his name somewhere on my phone. Forgot
I
it.
like their website.
They use Aave as an example.
Mhm.
Um, so what we can do is kind of look at this and now say, all right, um,
What does a balancer do? It says an 80/20 safety incentive pool on balance. Oh, okay. On balancer. What's a safety incentive pool?
I don't know. This is my first time reading this.
Let's Google it.
So what it looks like, and there's the white paper.
A safety incentive program is a reward-based incentive used to encourage employees to meet and exceed safety standards in the workplace. What's defined as safety? Safety incentive program. Okay, sorry. I got sidetracked from what you were actually trying to say. I was trying to figure out what these guys are up to. You can tell me.
I'm looking at their white paper now. I mean, at a high level, it's automated math for trading your assets. If you've like think about like
Give me a real world example. How would this work for
you ever
us?
seen like in the 80s, like Wall Street movies where people have to like physically go make a trade order,
Yeah.
right? So then it was like, oh, like I gotta yell over this guy over here and get my position. And that's what people woke up and did every single day. And then we got into automated trading. And this is like programmable trading, but for cryptocurrencies.
Okay. So you're just setting like terms and it's trading it?
Rules
Okay.
to make you a lot of fucking money. Like that's I mean, that's really what the core of it all is. And I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I just looked at the white paper in the last 30 seconds to 12 pages. So okay, so essentially we got
So you got
portfolio.
some big guys.
What was that?
So you got a lot of big guys out there, I guess, that are doing shit.
Right. All right. So we got that. And then we have Sunday school, right?
Yeah.
So do we want to go with Sunday school as the actual edible, or do we want to go with Sunday school as actual like school where you got to teach people how to teach people about this type of
I I think we could build an incentivized reward system whatever safety incentivized reward system these guys are using, use that and then reward people for educating themselves on healing through edibles.
Okay.
It's like doing like courses online, but you just pull up on Sundays maybe after God, after your church session, you can just come and learn.
All right. So I guess I would include you can either go down the rabbit hole of like potency or milligram or something of that nature. Maybe the impact. Nah, I guess the first one I would say, which is the easy one, is that you have some school that teaches you about this information, right? Like teaches you how like on boards, uh, like like crypto trading for dummies or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe there's some type of NFT around that. And then if we're going into the edibles, I would say maybe instead of just having like a with traditional crypto, you can also have like a platform that has like all of the edibles, um, and all the brands of edibles that have some type of association with some type of financial market. You can also,
You know what they could be? They could be NFT. I'm so annoyed with myself. They could be NFT trading cards that have all the information listed.
and then label them with edibles, like edible names.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, I like that the best.
And you could get rewarded for purchasing them. Like, I actually genuinely really like this brand, honestly. I looked at some other products today that they have, and I was like, it's nice when you find something where you like the brand, you like the product, you like what they do. They have really cool graphics. I'm a sucker for visual identity, so
Did you get that in LA or Canada?
I got it in LA. But what's crazy is I didn't realize I traveled with it. I hope the government's not listening. But I only had like one in here, and it was just in my like little purse because it's so tiny.
It's
I don't
legal.
really think it matters.
It's legal to bring it into California.
That's true. I'm pretty safe.
You can bring up to 28 grams into California. By the
Watch,
way,
we're gonna get one viewer right now.
all right. I think that's a wrap.
Yeah, I wanna go finish up my Blender 101.
All right, and then we gotta talk about this deck for this investor too.
All right.
All right, so maybe we could
Maybe
just.
I was gonna say just stop the recording.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been
We gotta
great.
go because we gotta build decks.
We gotta build decks. We gotta bring more insight to help you guys in the future as well.
Have you
And
seen that tweet that's just like being in Web3 is just designing decks over and over again?
I have not.
But at least we're doing all the other stuff too.
Correct. All right, guys. Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
See you this week, Friday.